Hi again, Jazzercise peeps. On to principle number 5. One of my favorites is feel your fullness. And I'm trying something a little different. Hopefully you can see my PowerPoint screen as we go along. I think it's easy this way to help you with my thoughts rather than me trying to remember it all in my head. So principle number 5 is feel your fullness. So it's the other half of that hunger fullness scale. And I love this part of intuitive eating because it really helps you to identify where you are on that scale of 1 to 10. So feeling your fullness, then some factors to consider. So often we get distracted and we eat for reasons other than hunger. So when you are not sure where you are hunger-wise, if you really don't have an idea of how hungry you are, or you're not even thinking about it, then you really don't have a compass to tell you how you're feeling for your fullness. And this happens when you're eating when you're not hungry. So if you really don't know where you are and you're hungry and you're eating for other reasons other than hunger, this is where people tend to fall into some diet gaps and fail traps here. So again, that hunger fullness scale is really going to help with that too. With the fullness factor, I want to make sure that we are looking at this unconditional permission to eat. Now, I've said this phrase probably 1,000 times so far, but when I say with attunement is allowing yourself to eat what you want and then paying attention to how it feels to you in your body. I'll give you this an example. My uncle was in the hospital a few months back, and I went right from Jazzercise. I was supposed to pick him up. He was supposed to be discharged at 10 o'clock, and I get there, he's still laying in bed, and he wasn't ready to go. They weren't ready for him. And so I had eaten breakfast, but now it's getting 10 o'clock and I really didn't have a plan. But I found he had some M&Ms at his bedside. So I ate some of his peanut M&Ms. And after a couple of peanut M&Ms, they tasted good going down because I was getting starving. But after a few minutes of eating these M&Ms, I really started to feel sick. So my attunement was telling me, this wasn't what you wanted. This is not what you needed. And it doesn't feel good in my body. So that attunement part is important, really trying to pay attention to how that food felt in your body. What did it taste like? And we'll get to satisfaction later. So you really need to understand the attunement part of that unconditional permission to eat. And you also need to make peace with food. Remember, Snickers aren't going to fall off the face of the earth tomorrow. You can always go get a Snickers bar. So these two parts of intuitive eating are really important in this fullness, feeling your fullness too. Your timing of your last meal is really going to play a role in your fullness factor also. It has to tie in with your blood sugar balance. And we briefly talked a little bit about this when I was talking about your hunger level. And most people need to eat anywhere from about 2 to 6 hours. Any more than that, blood sugar levels are dropping and that hangry feeling is creeping in. And if you don't feel the hangry feeling, maybe a slight headache or shakiness. And again, this is your body's telling you, hey, my blood glucose levels are low and you need to feed me. So I'm giving that range every 2 to 6 hours. Really, most people need to eat within 4 hours, but I'm giving that range because people are different. So some people can go 6 hours and feel perfectly fine. So it's all about the timing of your last meal too. The amount of food is definitely going to play a role in your fullness factors. If you didn't eat enough, then yeah, it is likely that you could be hungry again in an hour or two. Also, how about distractions? I know this is something that I fall into trap with too. It could be my peers or it could be somebody that I'm eating with. Oh, just here, have this one last dumpling or just finish this off. I don't want to throw it away. Or you might find this, or maybe you feel that yourself. We members of that Clean Plate Club, right? Or you're doing something else while you're eating and you're unaware of what you're eating. I fall into that trap. Sometimes I finish my whole lunch and I'm looking for it and I'm like, where did it go? And yeah, I really did eat it all. I'm looking on the floor for it. Yeah, nope, I ate it. The type of food is also going to play a role in your fullness factor too. So protein, fiber, and fat stay in the stomach longer, so they delay gastric emptying. So they'll move through your GI tract a lot slower. So you'll feel fuller longer when there's a protein and or a fiber and some fat in your foods. Again, this will slow food down moving through that GI tract. Also, if you're giving your food, giving your body or allowing your body only these air foods, and I talked about these a little bit earlier, where they're puffed rice or only sugar-free beverages or rice cakes that taste like cardboard. And I call them air foods because they're like fluffy. They're really nothing to them. It's a good chance if you're trying to fool your body and telling your body that you're really not hungry or that these are really going to fill you up, you might find yourself getting hungry or a lot quicker after eating these because they really don't do anything to really satisfy us and fill you up. Now, next on your fullness scale is I really want you to be able to tell when you are comfortably full and what those signs are for you and your own body. And they're different for everybody too. So here's some challenges that I'd like you to start working on when you're eating next time is really stop in the middle of your eating and pay attention to what it's tasting like to you. And then ask yourself, how full am I? Use that hunger scale. And remember, you want to be in that 3 to 7 range. You don't want to eat till you're full or 8 or 9, and then all of a sudden you're comfortably and not uncomfortably stuffed at Thanksgiving, stuffed at a number 10 on that eating scale. So really finding where that is for you on that number scale is going to be the challenge. And it takes practice, so be patient with yourself too. And then distracted eating. What is distracting you? Is it working at the same time you're eating? Is it peer pressure? So set those boundaries. Make sure it's not, eating is not an unpleasant time, a place where you're going to have a disagreement. And make sure you are sitting. So often when I'm really, really busy, sometimes I think I have all 3 meals in my car. I'm not really paying attention, again, to my hunger or fullness or even how it's satisfying me or what it's feeling like. So find out what those distractions are for you and kind of strategize around them. And if you need help, I'm happy to help with that. Your Clean Plate Club. How many people are members of the Clean Plate Club? Yep, my dad's motto was eat it or wear it. So finish your food. You're not getting up. You're not getting anything else to eat. How many times do we say that to our own kids? This is really not allowing yourself to understand how the food feels in your body and what the fullness feels like in your body. And it's eating a certain portion size that you might have thought was appropriate or really rather than what your body's telling you is appropriate. And how many people are fast eaters? Especially when I'm busy. And when you're a fast eater, you're riding right through that stop sign, that hunger fullness stop sign. It takes about 20 minutes for your stomach to send the satiety hormones to your brain to say, hey, you know what? Stop, I am full. So if you're eating really fast, you're eating quicker than 20 minutes, then your brain is going to be not aware of the fullness until you are uncomfortably full at Thanksgiving stuff at that number 10. So I give this guideline, my 20-20-20 guideline. There is no rule. And it is a guideline really to help people to slow down and try to pay attention to what they're eating and what it tastes like and what it feels like in your body. So the 20-20-20 guideline goes like this. It should take you about 20 minutes to eat a meal. Try that. It's a challenge. It's a challenge for me. But remember, it's just a tool to help you to slow down, to pay attention. The second part of the 20-20-20 guideline is, your grandmother might have told you this, chew your food 20 times. Now, most of the time, whatever you're chewing, after you chewed it 20 times, it's pretty much disintegrated. But again, it takes time and patience and practice to understand that's a mechanism to slow your body down. The last 20 is whatever's in your hand, a sandwich or a fork or a spoon, put it down for 20 seconds between bites. This is really going to force yourself to slow down and think about what you're doing. So I love that 20-20-20 guideline, and I frequently use it too. In a social situation, be prepared to say no when somebody's like, oh, just one more. Oh, you're not eating that today? No, thanks. I'm comfortably full and this is what I need to feel good. And don't let that peer pressure take over. And that's sometimes a little bit difficult when people are a little bit more forceful with that. Some characteristics of fullness. Again, fullness is going to feel different for different people. Some feelings that you might feel in your stomach is just a slight distension. If you let it go too full, then you might start to feel really heavy or really bloated. So again, using that hunger fullness scale to find out where it feels good to you, where you're starting to feel that just slight dissension and not heaviness and bloated. And I think I talked to you before, there was a time in my life where I was hangry or I was Thanksgiving stuff. And the hunger fullness scale really helped me to identify what I'm feeling like before I get to Thanksgiving stuff. In your head, when you're starting to become full, you start to have fewer thoughts about eating, and the desire to eat is just diminished, so you don't feel like eating more. You might find a mood switch, especially if you waited too long. You might start feeling like you're feeling a little bit more pleasant, a little bit more relaxed, and a little bit more energized, maybe a little irritable and less cranky. And then again, your energy, you might feel re-energized if you've gone past your stop sign, your fullness level. On the high end too, you might start feeling a little drowsy, a little food baby coma coming in too. And we want to hopefully recognize some of these earlier signs before it gets to these other signs too. All right, so that's it for today. And principle number 6, next session will be discover the satisfaction factor, one of my favorite principles to discuss too. Have a great day, and I will catch up with you soon.